Hello, welcome back to my tea house. For today's cup of tea, I'll finally be coming out of hiding to talk about the purple Code Geass Lullaby Kallen deck. Now, it's been a long time coming. I first want to apologize to the community. Things might still be shaky for the next couple weeks going. Again, coming back from Bandai Card Fest to start a new job, and then having the LA fires come right after that, and then having CapCut be banned on the 3-day weekend that I was hoping to catch up. It's just put a lot of wear and tear, and I have to adjust my schedule, figure out when I'm going to start doing these recordings and stuff like that. So please bear with me. All that to say, purple Code Geass. I told y'all. I told you purple Code Geass would be top 3, and it's not number 3. We could argue if it's 2 or 1. I like to say that it is best deck. I could argue Nanami's best deck, either or. I hate playing against Nanami, but I feel very confident playing against any other deck with Code Geass. I first want to give a shout out to Moon Rose. Thank you for piloting the deck list. I know you had to change one card just because you didn't have everything, but now both Moon and I have topped the Egman event. Both of us on track to be in the finals. Moon Rose took second. I lost in the down pair during mine, so instead of hitting the finals like I should have, I ended up placing 5th. But that being said, this deck is a helmet deck, right? That's what Moon Rose likes to call it. If Karapika pilots itself, bro, there is no business you shouldn't be able to pick up this deck and be able to compete and top with it. If you are a decent enough player, if you are good enough, this deck has everything you need. It is a toolbox. You have removal, you have BP reduction, you have bringing cards back from the graveyard, you have force blocks, right? You have it all except for bouncing. I just love having options, and when it comes to a deck like this, having options is everything. This deck and play style is very reactive, how I like to play it. Every player is different, and the mirror matchups are painful. I will say that. I don't like the neg 3000 BP, but in the mirror matchup, it's a really good card. I can't lie. It's a really good card. What can I say? That being said, the whole purpose of this deck is to get chip damage, and control the tempo. Though it's a purple deck, you're very much playing a control deck. You want to be able to respond and react to your opponents, and force them to play at your tempo. If you are pushing up the Collins early or the zeros early, getting chip damage, and the next turn, right, you play your next couple energies while pushing something up, and you swing for another 2 if they don't already have a body, that's 3 damage. And now they need to respond. They're probably going to feel flustered and play one of their big bodies out, and just like that, that's when you respond with either the force block or the 2-1 Louch, and then pop a 3k Gurren. I talk about it in the body once we get into the mix, but a lot of people prefer to play the force block. It's cool. I think it's a really good card, but I don't want to play a 4 of and potentially brick, and that's only because I'm playing so greedy. I'm playing so greedy, bro. I'm running 10 zeros, 10, and you know what? The payoff is amazing. It's astounding, bro. So why would I risk bricking more by playing more 4k bodies when I'm running 10 zeros? Again, this just allows me to put more cards and really push the deck to its full limit. You'll see that I opted out of the 0-drop C2 to play the Die Heart. I just like the Die Heart being able to scry look at the top and control what it is that I'm going to draw, or control in that one turn where you play C2 what it is you'll see that turn. It helps you if you are bricking, it helps you if you really need something, and it's a 2k body. Who can go wrong with that? Now, I have been expressing this whole entire time in deck building that you want to try and put as many triggers as possible, but you also want to do it with purpose. This deck has a lot of active triggers, but it also has a lot of draw triggers, and it has a couple get triggers as well as raid triggers. The whole package, bro. We only have 4 cards in this deck that don't have triggers. So the odds of you hitting something out of your life and benefiting off of it is very, very high. Like I said, this deck is a toolkit deck, and honestly, it's something that I might pilot for a long time moving forward in this next season, like our first actual competitive season, which I'm so excited to get into. Some other decks that I am looking forward to, I need to try out the yellow JJK deck. I'm glad that we finally have a tier 1 competitor yellow deck, and also One Punch Man. I'm telling you, One Punch Man is probably going to break the meta. All that to say, our regions is very balanced. It is very balanced, but if you are a great pilot, and we are getting to the point now where we have some amazing players that are starting to make a name for themselves. Shout out the Queen of UA, Rachel, bringing back the Kurapika love and cementing the fact that Kurapika is a great deck. Me, T-Mac, a lot of the people in the Discord have always been talking about the fact that Kurapika is the benchmark for a top 5 or S tier deck. If you can't beat Kurapika consistently, if you can't outperform that deck, you don't deserve to be in tier 1. You don't deserve to hang with the best. Shout out Moonrose for taking 2nd place day 1 at Orlando Card Fest. Shout out Jimmy for winning it for the West Coast and going to Japan. I do have an interview with Jimmy that I'm hoping to get finished as well. Again, I have these filmed, it's just I haven't had time to edit them. But with that all said, let's get into the mix. We are going to get into our first win condition and arguably the most important raid out of the 3 that we are running, the 5-1 Gurren Mark II. All right, we are talking about the SR variant, the pop a 3k or less on raid and sideline it, right? And it gains impact for the duration of the turn. I've made so many plays with this card. It helps you control the pace and tempo of the game. And honestly, even though it's purple, we're playing this very responsively. We're reactively. We're playing this like it's almost a control variant because we're controlling the tempo of the game. We respond to what our opponent puts on the board, we react, we remove it, and we get in some chip damage, and we keep chipping them down and making them play at our tempo. Now, a lot of people might think this is controversial because they prefer the 5-1 force block Gurren, which I think is a really good card. We'll get in more about that in just a second. But coming back to this one, you can rate it defensively, pop a 3k, and still have a 4k body to block. Yes, you lose out on the impact next turn, but sometimes you get to make that decision in the moment, right? Now, moving on to our third important raid card. Notice how I said third because Gwen is the 2nd most valuable, and it has won me a lot of games in a lot of sticky situations. But the 5-1 Gurren Mark II force block is a great card, especially when you pair it with the 1 of Checkmate that we are running. The reason why I run this at a 2 of, and the reason why it's not at a 4 of or as important as the other one, is because I don't want to break. Okay, you will see that in this deck list we are playing very, very greedy. A lot of people even were like, you're running only 10 zeros. Even Moon, who placed 2nd in the recent Egman tournament, like I previously stated, was like, bro, 10? You are greedy. And later on came on like, bro, the deck is surprisingly balanced. The deck is helmet, bro. It's helmet. It pilots itself. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to be playable for the new players, as well as be something that advanced players can really take advantage of, because it's a toolkit. It has everything. Now, the reason why I don't run the force block at a 4 of is because you can't rate it defensively. It's a get trigger, and that's cool, but there are some situations in which we need to have a body come on board, block something, remove something. And on top of that, the ability is contingent on you having a Louch. Now, we are running a lot of Louches in the deck, so you should never have this issue, but there are times, surprisingly, when you don't have a Louch on board, so you can't really get the effect of this card. On top of it, just like its predecessor, it also gains impact, and there is a beautiful combo that you can do with this card. I don't know if they'll release the footage from all the recorded games in Orlando, but during my stream match, I had a sexy play against a Karapika player where I ended up asking the judge for a judge call, because as you read the card, right, if Louch is on your field, this character gains the ability. I was asking him that if I raid the Gwaine in after I raid this in and the Louch is no longer on board, does the card still retain the ability? And for anyone that has been questioning themselves or wondering, it does. So on top of that, there are some cool combos that you can do if you sequence things right. But other than that, when your opponent does have one card on board, it's cool to raid this in, pop it. If your opponent has 2 or 3 little bodies, you raid this in, then you play the 3/1 Louch, give it can't be blocked by 2k or less, and you still swing out and remove the 4k. We love those moments. We love those moments, and you still get the damage in. But other than that, you know, it's self-explanatory. The card, much like the other one, helps us control the tempo and the pace of the game while getting in that chip damage and establishing a very strong board presence. Now, moving on to the third raid and the second most important card, honestly bouncing back and forth between first important card, the Gwaine. This card has won me so many games, and for those that get the double Gwaine off, I feel sorry for your opponent. Bro, the double Gwaine into the Papa 3k Gurren, undefeated combo. And this is what I mean by I like to play reactively, because my opponent will go for that full push hoping to end game and won't be able to clutch it up, thinking that I don't have it. But then I have it. I drop the double Gwaine, extend, drop the Papa 3k, wipe the board, and now what? You can't block the 2 Gwaines, and you can't block the impact. It's GG, it's a dub. Now, this card is amazing both offensively and defensively. If you get it defensively right, -1k to their whole board. Sometimes your 3ks are even able to block out the 2ks or 3ks that they did have that got shrunk. The 4ks on their board now can be blocked by your 4ks, and you don't have to choose whether or not to trade a card for your life. This card can also not be blocked by 2k or less, which is the main appealing aspect of the card. And on top of it, it has 2 raid targets. You can raid this card off of a Louch or a C2 as well, which makes it makes for even more crazier combos. There was a combo, I forget his name. If you are watching this video, bro, leave a comment. But he had this sexy line. I played him round 3 in Orlando. He ended up being my first loss. He had a double energy Louch in the back, a Colin. He had 2 Collins, and then he had the C2 that you can crack to generate extra energy. He goes into the Papa 3k raid, then into the Force Block raid, then into the Gwaine, wipes my whole entire board, bro, and swings out for 4 damage. It was insane. But that being said, we're going to get into the raid fodder. Self-explanatory, we already know. You run a 4 of the 0/1 Colin, add this card to your hand. I really love seeing this card early on, both this and 0. That way I can establish pushing up a 0. I'm pretty aggressive with this deck. Ahead chip damage, and I always like to keep at least 1 0 and 1 Colin in the back line, whether that is the double energies, whether that is the 0 drops, the 1-0s, blah blah blah. You always keep 1 of both in the back line, because you never know when you're going to need it. Moving forward, we are running a 4 of 0. This card also is treated as the loose Lamproach. Again, self-explanatory. Both these 0 drops having a get trigger, which adds on to this deck having only 4 non-triggers in the deck. Your majority of the time you're going to see something out of your life. Very unlucky moments when you have that 1 card that doesn't have the trigger, but you know, thems are the breaks. Moving forward 2 of the Die Hard, you guys are going to see that we don't run the 0-drop C2s. I think this is up to playstyle and preference. If you want to swap this out for the C2, be my guest. I don't think it's a bad decision at all. I think that when it comes to zeros in this deck though, I think a 10 of is the perfect ratio. Playing greedy with this deck is perfect because you have everything. Why not be greedy? I want it all. Now, the Die Hard, the reason why I choose the Die Hard over the C2 is because it allows me to scry and look at the top and control what it is that I'm going to draw next. Whether I'm using the Geass, the special trigger, right, to remove something, and then playing a turn extender, then dropping the C2, not dropping the C2, to playing a turn extender, playing the Die Hard, seeing what's on top, moving it to the bottom, then playing the C2, the draw the 2, and draw what I want. It just, again, allows you to feel more in control with your deck, understand what you're going to get next. And if you are breaking or not seeing what it is that you want to see, it helps you get out of those situations or prepare those combos and turns that you want to do. We have the 1/1 Colin. This card, a 1-drop 2k that becomes a 3k on your turn if you have Louch. Immense pressure. This card also doubles as your color trigger. A lot of times this card, bro, can save you with this deck because again, our triggers are crazy. You play this, you get the 2/1 Louch out of your graveyard, you play it, neg a 4k down 1, and then your 4k can block it out and everything else blocks out, right? Or if you need it, you could play the C2, you get a draw during that turn, or you could play the Die Hard if you have it in there and establish what it is that you're going to draw. Again, this is a combo-centric deck. You have everything, bro. Everything. Moving forward, we have the 2/1 Ogi. Now, self-explanatory, right? This is a double energy option, and this is the other 2 of that is taking up the non-trigger slot. It's a pretty important card to me. If I have it early, right, I could just leave it in the back, and then now I can put my 3/1 Colin or 3/1 Louch in the front to establish a 3k body. Or if you want to and you have those, you could push the Ogi up and then play them in the back, right? That way you keep them safe. Whatever your heart desires. We have our 2 of C2. This card allows you to draw a card, and again, like I stated earlier, if you use a 2 action point cost card like your special or the 4/2 Louch, you can draw an additional card. It was funny watching Moon pilot this deck for the first time in the Egman event and seeing him play this card wrong. I was like, no. I honestly feel like if he knew what the cards did, he might have been able to turn it around in the championship match, but just being able to get there to the finals is its own feat. The funny thing is, I placed 5th place, right, with this deck in the last Egman tournament during the Code Geass release. Even though I was on track to be in the finals, I just lost the down pair and ended up dropping all the way down to 5th. Them's the breaks. You guys know the stories. We had the video on the channel. Now, this is also another raid option for the Louch, for the Gwen. Again, Gwen can raid on the C2 or the Louch. Moving forward, we have the 2/1 Louch, arguably the most important card in this deck. It is between the 2/1 Louch or the 3/1 Louch to me. I'm still trying to decide what one's more important, but a lot of your combos stem from the 2/1 Louch. If I start off with it in hand, I try to hold on to at least one. There's been sticky situations where I don't see this card and I'm not able to do some crazy plays, but the 2/1 Louch allows you to pop a 4k with your 5/1 Gurren. It allows you to remove small bodies. It allows you to drop a 5k down 1, raid the Gwen, then raid the pop at 3k, right? Or vice versa with the force block. It has a draw trigger and it is 2500 BP. So if you do get it early, sometimes you like to drop 2 of these early just to pop their 2k that's in the front line, and again lower the tempo down. Boom boom in the front line. I have 3 bodies now in the front line. You have nothing. What are you gonna do about it? You know you're gonna take 3 swings next turn if you don't move everything. And again, we want to be able to put our opponent in situations that make them uncomfortable. It is a must for a 5-star card. 5-star. Moving on, we have our 1 of. In the early iterations of this deck, I was running it at a 2 of, and it felt bad having 2 in my hand. This is a card that I hold onto for sticky situations. I never want to play it early. I only play it if I need that win condition or I haven't been seeing anything. You have a lot of good draw in this deck, a lot of good draw triggers, the C2s if you use it right, and if you are taking your extra draw, honestly, with all the Gurrens that you're running, all the Gwains that you're running, you should be able to at least see 1 to 2 of them. And again, if you aren't, or you're in that last minute situation and you need it, this is the MVP 1 of that you can just drop, dig 5 cards deep, find the force block or find the pop of 3k, you raid on it, you get that impact on it, and you remove something from the board. Moving forward, we have a 4 of the 3/1 Louch. This card is the second most important card because it allows your cards not to be blocked by a 2k or less. So when you pair this with the 5/1 force block Gurren, you can get the 4k and avoid all the weenies. If you pair this with your weenies and then give it the checkmate, right, now the weenies can't block it. The big ones are the only ones that can block it. They're not going to want to block it because it's impact. This is another card that I try to hold on to if I can. If I have the 3/1 Colin double energy, I prefer to play that first and hold on to this just in case there's a situation where I want to do that combo. Again, the discipline in knowing when to play a card and when to hold on to it is key and important as we continue growing in this format, in this game. It's also an active trigger, which comes up clutch quite a bit. You'll be surprised. A 4 of double energy, you want to see this card. Moving on, we have the 3/1 Colin. I am running this at a 3 of. A lot of you might be like, oh, like, why aren't you running it at 4 of? Well, we have a lot of Colin options, so I'm not that worried on hitting a Colin for the raid targets. It is also a plus 3000 trigger. Very self-explanatory. It's a name, double energy, a 3k body. What more can you want? We have the 1 of the 4/2 Louch. If you guys don't know by now, I am a 1 of whore. I love playing 1-ofs, bro. There is something wrong with me. There is something wrong with me. And the funny thing is, Moon agrees that he enjoys my 1-ofs after piloting the deck, because you know what? In every game he played, there was a situation where the 1-of he had in hand was necessary and he used it and clutch up. The reason why I prefer the 4/2 is because this card cannot be blocked by 3500 BP or higher. When played, your opponent loses a card, and on top of it, when it's sidelined, you get to draw 2. A lot of the times, if I get this card early on in a game, I'm eating. I like to sit it, keep it in the back line, and it just sits there until late game when your opponent has all the 4Ks, and then you push that up, and now what they're going to do about it? You have 3 4Ks on your board, you swing out with those, force them to block, and then if they don't block, you just swing with the 4/2 Louch. And even if they get a special trigger and pop this 4/2 Louch to stop it from winning you the game, you are up 2 cards, bro. It's just crack. On top of it, it is a get trigger, so if you see out of life, it is still gonna go and hit your hand. Now, a lot of people like to play the other variant, which is the double energy neg 3. Again, I just think this card is so much better, and we already have a lot of removal in the deck. You know, what's another removal? In the mirror matchup, the other variant is very strong, again, because the way we play this deck, we are playing those chip damage intervals early on, but because he's able to just raid a neg 3, he can pop any of your important cards, or even, again, get you down and then play 2/1 and pop that and then play the special. So it just comes up to play style. I prefer this one. Also, the rare battle variant looks beautiful, gorgeous. one of. We have the 4 of the final triggers, self-explanatory. A lot of people now are starting to play non. I can understand going down 1 on certain decks. You need these in this deck. You can have some nasty combos, show some restraint. In this deck, as you pilot it, as you learn it, and familiarize yourself with it, hold on to the United States of Japan. Hold on to at least 2 if you can. If you want, you can just play 1, but if you hold on to 2 and you hit that moment where you see all the lines set up, bro, go for it. Trust me, go for it, and they won't recover. Now we have the absolute obedience. That's the name I was trying to remember. This special is quite interesting, quite unique. Double action point and then restanding it to it makes for some interesting patterns and combos, but self-explanatory. It's your special. And last but not least, the last one of in the deck, the 2/1 Checkmate. This card has saved a lot of lives. It got Moon to the finals. It has done a lot of bidding, and on top of it, you can do a lot of combos with it. It is 2 costs, so if you have a double energy in the back, you could push up a weenie that's a 2K, put it on that bitch. As long as Louch is the double energy that's in the back, the game's yours. Hopefully, if you don't hit a final. You could pair this with the force block and get 2 damage off the force block, because they have to block. All around good card. If you have your Gurren already out, just pop it on there. You know, what more do you want, bro? It's a 1 of Checkmate. But yeah, I mean, that explains everything. Let's head back over and close out the video. And there you have it. I hope that a lot of you find this deck profile very helpful in your journey in Union Arena. Again, bro, I can't stress it enough. I want to say thank you. I really want to say thank you to everyone that came and said hi, asked for photos. You know, I started this channel just to document my journey, and to see that my journey is also helping a lot of you on your journey as a Union Arena player, it means so much. We have some more videos in the works. We have a money match with the Union Arena HQ boys, a small Union Arena group that's coming up making content. Go give them some love. Hopefully I can get that edited in the vlog, and hopefully I have a lot of you that did come say hi to me in the vlog. It's crazy, bro. It's really crazy. Union Arena was a success. I think that the game's going to continue to grow, and on top of that, we have Gundam right around the corner as well. I want to say thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed your tea break, and I'll catch you on the next one.